Hello and welcome to the 8th stop in our virtual whistle stop tour series. My name is Nikki Johnson, Executive Director of the North Carolina Small Grain Growers Association. And on behalf of our association, we want to welcome you here today and we want to thank you for watching from home. We hope that you're enjoying these videos as we're making our way across the state. Today we're filming in Lenoir County at the Lower Coastal Research Station, and today's topics are going to include wheat and barley variety testing. So we hope you enjoy today's videos and find them educational and informative and helpful to your farming operation. As always, if you've missed any of the videos or want to watch them over again, they'll be posted on our website at ncwheat.com and our NC Small Grain Growers Facebook page. So be sure to like it, share it, let us know what you think, and continue to watch as we make our way through the state.
Hey everyone, it's Steve Collette. I'm the extension agent here in Lenoir County. We're out here today at the Whistle Stop Tour with NC State University. A little bit about Lenoir County. We typically have the original corn, wheat, soybeans rotation here. That's a good go-to that farmers tend to utilize. We also have a good amount of tobacco growers, not as much peanuts, but we have sweet potatoes, and obviously we have a good amount of wheat here in the county as well. Our farmers tend to also raise livestock, chickens, hogs, turkeys, and they typically have that along with their grain production. I'd like to go ahead and thank Ryan Heiniger and Angela Post for putting this on for us, and hopefully we can have a good whistle stop tour this year.
I would like to welcome you to the Lower Coastal Plain Research Station in Lenoir County. I also am superintendent of the Caswell Research Farm and the Cunningham Research Farm, all in Lenoir County around Kinston. At the research station, we host crop breeding work for corn, wheat, soybeans, tobacco, and sweet potatoes. So we represent what's grown in Lenoir County. I really value the OVT program. We host that for the small grain and the tobacco crops, and that's information that goes straight to the farmers and help them make decisions the very next planting season. So we really value the OVT work that we host here. We support and work with about 30 NCSU researchers, and also some U.S. Department of Agricultural researchers come and work here in the county with us. The 3 research stations have 1,100 acres of cultivated land, and we have 18 full-time employees. Most years we hire a significant number of part-time staff, but this year with the COVID challenge, we haven't hired any part-time folks, so we're trying to get it all done with our full-time labor and just working hard together. This year we've had great weather for small grain production, and it's been a cold spring the last couple of weeks, so we've transplanted tobacco. We'll see how that works out, but we've got a good year, and farmers, like research station staff, are always optimistic, always looking for a good harvest in the future.
You're here today at one of our 6 small grains OVT sites that we have spread across North Carolina. This is our Lenoir location, and it contains all 4 of our small grain variety tests: commercial wheat, experimental wheat, malting barley, and oats. This is one of 2 locations within North Carolina that we have all 4 tests, the other being out in Salisbury, North Carolina. We have our small grains tests at 6 locations across the state, and we have them set up in such a way that we've balanced our tests across major soil type regions within the state. So we have locations out east in the Tidewater and Blacklands area in both Beaufort and Pasquotank counties. We have 2 in the coastal plains regions on more sandier soils here at Lenoir and down in Robeson County. And we have 2 in the Piedmont on more clay soil types in Rowan and Union County. Out here in the commercial test that we were looking at here today, we have 57 varieties. 58% of them are either 2 or 1 year varieties. So they're either brand new to the test or they've only been in the test 2 years. So we've got a good influx of new varieties that we've been looking at, but also a good mix of older varieties to compare them to see what our yield potentials are out here. This location was planted on October 30th. At planting, we had 30 units of nitrogen down so we can get a good start. And we also put out our Anthem Flex for residual weed control. We then came back in late January with another 45 pounds of nitrogen. And then our top dress consisted of 75 pounds of nitrogen there in the first week of March. So our total for this location is 150 pounds of nitrogen. You might ask, why are we pushing so much nitrogen? Well, we really want to do two things. We want to push yield potential out here. So the more nitrogen, the more potential we'll have for yield, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. And we also want to push lodging. If any varieties are going to lodge due to the higher amounts of nitrogen, we want to see them in this situation. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've really not seen a lot of lodging even at 150 pounds of nitrogen. The only times we've seen a good amount of lodging are at our Union County site, where we've had 2 tons of chicken litter ahead of a lot of those plots. As a grower last year, if you were looking for variety recommendations, you would have called Dr. Post, and she would have given you a list of 5 varieties to look at for growing in your operation. We're going to run through those 5, talk about their characteristics, and then we're going to look at those compared to some of the newer lines that we have out here this year to see how they might stand up yield potential wise. The first line in that recommendation she would have given you is Agramax 415. It has 2,340 units of growing degrees to full head. It's susceptible to powdery mildew, but it's got good resistance to both leaf rust and scab. Virginia Tech Hilliard, 2,310 units of growing degrees to full head. Top yield group for 3 and 2 year. Really good resistance to powdery mildew, good resistance to leaf rust, a little bit of susceptibility to head scab. Cropland 9606, 2,370 growing degree units to full head. Top yield group 3 and 2 year table. Some susceptibility to powdery mildew, with some resistance to leaf rust, but a lot of susceptibility to head scab. And then a newer one, USG 3118, 2,300 units to full head. Top yield group in a 2 year table, and some susceptibility to head scab. So those are the top 5 that Dr. Post would have recommended to you last year. How do those stack up to the newer lines that we have coming out this year? Well, normally, if we had this field day, we'd have a lot of growers out here, and we'd do what we call red flag, white flag. So we'd hand you a red flag, we'd hand each one of you a white flag. We'd say, go pick your top yielding line, or the thing you think is going to be a top yielding line with your red flag, and what you think is going to be this next top yielding line with your white flag. We don't have that opportunity this year. So I've asked Dr. Post to do that red flag, white flag exercise for you. And she's chosen the following 5 lines. And you're going to see that there's some similarity to the recommended list that we had last year, but there's some newer ones that have some pretty good yield potentials this year. So Dr. Post chose Agramax 473. That's been in the top yield group, 3, 2, and 1 year tables, and has really good resistance to powdery mildew, leaf rust, and head scab. She chose Pioneer 26R45. Again, this is one that's been around for a while. It's top yield group in our 2 year table. Good resistance to head scab. And USG 3458. Again, top yield group in the 2 year table, but has some susceptibility to head scab. Now we've gone through and we've done yield estimations for all of these plots. We've talked about yield estimations. If you go back to our Orange County whistle stop tour, we talk in depth about how to do yield estimations for both plots and for your farm. So go back to that video, take a look at that, how we describe how to take that measurement, because we did the exact same thing out here. And for all 5 of those lines that we just talked about, yield estimations were well over 100 bushels per acre. Now, will we hit that level? Well, that depends on a lot of different factors. A, the weather. Are we going to stay cool and dry enough for long enough to allow this head to fill out? Any kind of disease pressure that we have coming in. You'll see through some of the videos we've shown so far that there's a good amount of leaf rust that's coming into this site. So we're going to have some early death due to leaf rust. And also due to the amount of nitrogen that we have available here in the soil. We put out 150 units of total nitrogen. If we assume that we don't have any residual nitrogen left to us from the previous crop, then our max yield potential at this site is going to be 94 bushel. Even though we've estimated over 100 on every single line that we've picked out here, our max will be 94 bushels per acre. Now, if we have some residual, that number will go up a little bit, but it depends on how much of that is left over from the previous year. So it's exciting to me to see that we've got some excellent yield potentials out here. It's exciting to see what we can provide for new lines for y'all to select for next year. Once we get to June and July, once we've harvested these will go on to the NCOVT website, ncovt.com. Take a look on there and see how close we were in estimating what lines would be in the top yield group.